Welcome to 365 Christian Men, where every day we aim to inspire and encourage with real-life stories about men. February 24th, Francis of Assisi. Before Francis became a Catholic friar, deacon, and preacher, he was a rebellious teenager. His parents were wealthy, and he was raised in luxury. He was so well known for drinking and partying, his pals called him the King of Revels. Francis's first dream was to become a war hero, a knight in battle. But in his first war, he was captured, imprisoned in an underground cell, and held for ransom. He was there a year, and while he waited, he contracted a serious illness. Soon, Jesus Christ got Francis's attention, and the young man began to respond. At first, only a little at a time. Francis heard Jesus tell him to repair the church. So, Francis took what belonged to his dad and sold it to get money to repair the church building. Fighting mad, his dad dragged him before the bishop and demanded his property back. And here was a real turning point. Now Francis got it. He returned the goods to his father and gave him all his money and his clothes. This was the beginning of change that would sweep through the Catholic Church. On this date, in 1209, Francis established a religious order of monks called the Franciscans.
Only Christ can take our bitterness and hatred and turn it into love and acceptance. Do you freak out at web-weaving poisonous spiders? Do you loathe little lizards? How about boils breaking out on your body? If so, you're not alone. During Francis of Assisi's childhood, whenever he saw a leper, his skin would crawl. He hated them. He avoided them. He wouldn't go to a place where a leper had been. He was born in Assisi, Italy, to wealthy parents who spoiled him. And like a lot of spoiled children, as he got older, he became a rebel. In arrogance, he drunkenly mocked the lepers in his town. He hated them so much that when he heard the ringing of the bells every leper was forced to wear, he ran and warned others. To him, those who struggled with leprosy were not really humans. They were walking infections. Francis imagined himself as a knight in battle, being adored for his victories. However, when he did enter the war, he was captured and then held for ransom. During the year he spent in prison, waiting for his father to pay the ransom, Francis began having visions from God. He came to believe in Jesus Christ and decided to follow him, especially his way of love. God lavished his love on Francis, forgiving everything he had done and been. God unconditionally accepted him, and in prison, God transformed him. After prison, Francis decided to live in stark poverty, just like Christ had done. He left Assisi and began rebuilding a small, broken-down church on the outskirts of the town. This is what God had told him to do in a vision. While traveling, he heard God give him these simple instructions. Francis, if you want to know my will, hate and despise all of those things your body has loved and desired in the past. Once you begin to do this, all that formerly seemed sweet and pleasant to you will become bitter and unbearable. And instead, the things that formerly made you shudder will bring you great sweetness and contentment. Matthew 25, verse 40 says, "And the king will reply, 'Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me.'" Soon after, Francis was riding his horse through a forest when he heard the tiny tinkling of a bell. A leper was near. Francis didn't run or mock him this time. Instead, he rode up to the leper, got off his horse, and approached him. Francis embraced the man and kissed him. He was a new man. Francis wrote a famous prayer, which is commonly prayed today. Lord, Make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Are there people in your life that are hard for you to love? Is it possible you have judged them? Only Christ can take our bitterness and hatred and turn it into love and acceptance.
Thank you for listening to today's story. Every day of the year, our hope is to inspire you with real-life stories of faithful men who have gone before us. For today's story, we have a free one-page group discussion sheet available on our website. Please join us tomorrow for another story at 365christianmen.com.